republic for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Doug, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Rami Rice. Councilman Began.
Here.
Councilwoman Organ.
Here.
Councilman Kaplan.
I am here.
Deputy Mayor Schwartz. Deputy Mayor Katz. Mayor Dunleavy.
Here.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by resolution number 265-2021, sending a copy to the newspapers officially designated for 2022 by way of resolution number 4-2022, filing a copy in the township clerk's office and posting on the municipal building bulletin board, and the mayor hereby directs this statement be included in the minutes.
Thank you, Doug. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our March 17th budget meeting. Township administration present tonight includes Dean Kaczynski, Township Manager, Doug Roussillon, Township Clerk, Ron Goodman, Volunteer Cablecaster, Clarence Barnes, Building Maintenance, and John Shadanian from the law firm of Trank, Isabel, Siddiqui, and Shadanian, and also Isa Abbasi, our CFO. Upcoming events, council meetings. First of all, council did not meet in closed session before this meeting this evening. And right now, I would like everyone to take a moment of silence in remembrance of Coach Troy Fox and Cynthia McGilchrist, two members of our community who have unfortunately just transitioned, passed away. Thank you. The next televised council meeting will take place next Thursday, March 24th at 7 p.m., which again will be a budget meeting. So at this point, we will open it up for good and welfare at this time. Clerk?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. And I just want to remind everyone that we are live on YouTube and Facebook. Public access is open. Our Zoom is being recorded. I am now bringing in Alan Sohn.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, sir. You have 3 minutes.
It is a privilege to be asked to speak at Good and Welfare. Having had my hand up and having requested to speak at Good and Welfare at the council meeting on Tuesday evening, and having had my hand up to speak during the hearing on ordinances. The statute, actually the township code is very clear that Good and Welfare shall last for an hour, and the township council shall endeavor to ensure that it lasts for an hour. Good and Welfare on Tuesday evening was cut off at a half hour. There were plenty of people who had their hands up who were not given the opportunity to speak. I had my hand up during the introduction of ordinances, including the adoption of ordinances, including the adoption of Ordinance 9-2022. The statute 40:49-2 is rather clear. At the time and place so stated, all persons interested shall be given an opportunity to be heard concerning the ordinance. It does not say that some people, it does not say a balance of people. It is remarkably clear that all persons interested shall be given an opportunity to be heard concerning the ordinance. It seems rather clear that there was picking and choosing of which people would speak. It appears that those people who were speaking in favor, who had marked their names on their screen names on Zoom, were selected, while other people were ignored. The only individuals who indicated during Good and Welfare that they had been ignored were those who indicated that they would speak against the ordinance and raise issues about it. And that raises fundamental issues of fairness. A claim was made by Mayor Dunleavy that there was no censorship. Everybody was given an opportunity to speak. There is no greater censorship than not allowing people to speak. That is the worst kind of censorship. And that is what Mem Levy committed on Tuesday evening. On February 22nd, he claimed that questions were being asked unrelated to the ordinance in question. Every single question that I asked, as indicated in the minutes of that meeting, and for which this council approved those minutes, were directly related to the specific ordinance regarding the newsletter. That is unequivocal censorship. We have an attorney sitting here. There were, as a matter of fact, two attorneys sitting there on Tuesday evening, neither of whom were aware of 4049-2, neither of whom said anything about the ordinance opportunities to speak being cut off. It's really little surprise that this level of corruption is coming from this council, from the top. The same council members who were involved in taking improper.
Mr. Stone, the 3 minutes were up. You have my email, sir. Please be sure to send your comments via email, clerk@tnecnj.gov, and I will be sure to distribute them to council. Deputy Mayor Schwartz seemed just to come in. I'm bringing him in, and now I'm bringing in Dr. Chuck Powers.
Thank you, Doug.
No problem, Deputy Mayor. Good to see you.
Good evening, Council.
Hello, sir. 3 minutes.
Thank you very much. I think that this council is well aware of the fact that the One Town, One Vote group, that this council spent $25,000 with his attorney to try to keep from getting to the November ballot. When it got to the November ballot for the two referendum issues it was supporting, got 2-to-1 support of the township. And that group has actually developed a letter that I want to make sure that it is well identified as being brought to your attention. I will probably not be able to finish it, but I assume that someone will. On the 14th of March, it wrote to the TNEC Council, One Town, One Vote successfully unified TNEC voters to make it easier and more convenient for everyone to vote for all our officials at one time, as part of the general elections in November. We also united the town behind clean energy, a campaign that now seems especially prescient. We are writing to express our concern that in addition to having the right to vote for their government representatives in a unified election, TNEC residents also have the right to have their voices heard at public meetings. As you discuss rules regarding decorum at council meetings, you should consider the words of Justice Thurgood Marshall, who wrote, above all else, the First Amendment means the government has no power to restrict expression because of its message, its ideas, its subject matter, or its content. The actions of this council has taken to silence members of the public, whether they be at council meetings, planning board meetings, closing off advisory boards, or on social media, are unacceptable and unconstitutional. The members of this council were elected to represent all residents of TNEC, whether they are supporters or opponents of individual council members. Freedom of speech is one of, if not the most important right of our democratic republic. We have the right to express ourselves without interference or regulation from government. As the governing body in TNEC, you may not censor speech you do not like while inviting the speech you do. You may also not interfere with a resident's right to speech simply because you believe them to be stating alternative facts. As a council, you may set rules for meetings, such as how long members of the public may speak or how long good and welfare lasts. You may put a meeting in recess if a member of the public becomes disruptive or violent. Council members also have the freedom to respond to public comments as they see fit. However, you may not shut off a resident due to your personal biases. You may not make a claim that the resident was off topic when the following two speakers voiced the exact questions and concerns. You may not in one breath state that residents cannot address individual members of the council during good and welfare, but then allow residents who offer praise to the individual council members to speak to those individuals. The claim by Councilwoman Orga that residents who disagree with the actions of this council is hate speech is not a claim that you can take.
Dr. Powers, I apologize. The 3 minutes were up. You have my email, clerk@tnecnj.gov. If you'd like, you can send that letter that you were reading from over to me. I'll be sure that the council receives it. I am now bringing in Ken Hoffman. Sir Hoffman. There he is.
I think I did it right.
Hello, sir. Yes, you sound good. 3 minutes, sir.
All right, let me just turn one light off so you can see me there. And hold on. Oh, how's that? Hold on. Got to turn another light on. My apologies. There we go. This is what happens when you work from home on a day. There we go. Thank you. Ready, Doug? Here we go.
Righto.
Okay. First, I wish to once again thank Mayor Jim Donlevy, Deputy Mayor Schwartz, and Katz, and the other members of council, and of course, Dean, for the good wishes and for naming Hoffman's pitch this past Sunday in recognition of my long service as a volunteer here in Teaneck. It was a great honor for me and my parents were dead, but my family. Secondly, I want to congratulate John Shadanian, Reggie, and Bill Rupp. I always call them the Teaneck Trio on starting their new firm. I wish you nachas and all good luck and happy St. Patty's Day for those who celebrate and happy Purim for those who did. Finally, with COVID hopefully receding and our new COVID coming, but seems to be less infective, I just want to re-thank Dean and former Mayor Mohammed Hamadunan, Jim, and the other council members for what their service does for the last 2 years, because we often have our memory fade of what things happened from February 2020 all the way till today, including Karen as a pharmacist who's been vaccinating people. You all save lives. And as the Jewish Talmud states, whoever saves a single life saves an entire world. And as we start into our election process, once again, the idea of civility, it is okay to disagree with each other, but let's keep the personalities and the personal vindictiveness to ourselves. I thank you all very much, and I wish everybody a very happy spring.
You have a minute and a half left. Are we banking it?
Thank it for someone else. Thanks.
Banking it, sir. Thank you. Be safe. Mayor, at this time, I don't see any other hands. You're muted, sir.
We'll close good and welfare then. I'll ask if anyone has any comments. I do not have any comments for this evening.
I would like to make a small comment, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
A topic that has been brought up at Good and Welfare a couple times deserves redress. The council is not limiting comments of the public in Good and Welfare. The council has not limited comments of the public in Good and Welfare. What happened at one point was an individual was speaking off topic during an ordinance. It is a topic of concern because if left unaddressed, people might not understand exactly what happened. Courts in New Jersey have said that in contrast to traditional and designated public forums, a government entity creates a limited public forum when it creates something like an ordinance meeting. That means that when we have an ordinance, only the topic in that ordinance is to be discussed. There are cases upon cases about when people go a bit too far and stray off topic, veer into their pet hobby horse, or call allegations or various things instead of dealing with strictly the subject of the ordinance. That is the issue. It was the issue and it will remain the issue. This council has always and will always protect the free speech rights of residents. And anybody who has any questions about that can reach out. My email is on the website, kkaplan@tnecnj.gov. I am more than happy to chat about the issues involved. We can take a look at where the cases are and what they actually say. Because at this point, it's repeated often enough that people might tend to believe it. But This is what the court in New Jersey said. Stated differently, governmental entities which have established limited public forums, quote, may impose restrictions on speech that are reasonable and viewpoint neutral. Staying on topic is reasonable and viewpoint neutral. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Kaplan. Anyone else? Okay, hearing none. We will move on to our budget discussion. Dean, you want to?
Thank you, Mayor, Council. We're going to cover a couple different departments tonight, and when I do these departments individually, I'm also going to cover their capital requests. So we'll cover that. I know in the queue, Doug, if you could bring Chief O'Reilly in, we're doing the police department first, but we'll also be speaking to Chief Zaretsky. We'll also be speaking to Travon Romeo, Director of Public Works, and we will be doing the legal budget with Mr. Shadanian this evening. Also with us, of course, is our CFO, Mr. Abbasi, but let me just begin to cover the police budget, which is budget account number 240. There's probably about 15 sub-accounts. So in 2021, the township budgeted $352,295. After careful review and working with the chief, we're coming in at $330,820. That's a decrease of a little bit over 6%, or $21,475. And I'll let the chief speak in a minute, but this really, the decrease has a lot to do with the audit and inventory being conducted in 2021. We had to put money in there, and not having it in there this year has certainly reduced their budget. But some of the other line items, the larger line items that council sees the decrease would be in sub-account 250, where there's a decrease of $32,800. We bought a piece of equipment last year. There are some other sub-accounts such as pre-employment screening. That's down almost $7,000 this year. But I'll bring Chief. Are you there? Can you hear us?
I'm here, sir.
Okay. I'll let the chief speak a little bit about the department, his budget, and then towards the end, I'll cover what we're requesting to be included in capital this year.
Okay. Thank you, sir. First, I do want to thank the council for all their hard work in the budget process. I know it's not easy. I know we ask for a lot, but I think we're always trying to strive to do what's best. And I think we can all agree that that is ultimately our goal. So I do want to thank you for all your hard work in the budget process. As the manager stated, the budget this year is down about $21,000, or roughly 6% from last year. The bulk of that is related to that inventory that we had to do for our evidence. We are up for reaccreditation this year, and had we not gotten that evidence stuff done, we definitely would not pass our on-site inspection. So I do want to thank you for allowing us to get that done. With the extra manpower we have in there now, we are going to be able to actually get rid of evidence as opposed to just keep stockpiling it and never really getting around to it. So that was a huge help to get that done last year. And that is a project that will continue going forward. So thank you for that. As far as the budget itself, like I said, it is down over last year. There might be some slight increases in certain areas, but I think overall it's a pretty responsible budget. So I don't know if there are any specific questions or about the line items. I'd be more than happy to try and answer and or explain.
Now, just quickly, Mayor and Council, with the police budget, as far as staffing is concerned, I'm happy to report as of yesterday, we got the approval from Civil Service to hire 3 alternate route candidates. And we're looking at a 4th candidate as well. As I mentioned, Civil Service is allowing civil service municipalities to hire alternate route as long as the proper documents are received by them and the forms filled out by the municipality. We did the hiring resolution. We had to provide the our ordinance on conflicts of interest. nepotism. So everything was submitted to civil service. They approved the 3 hirings yesterday. They will take place April 1st. Again, it's a difficult task hiring people. Again, normally we go right from a civil service list. We've exhausted all the Teaneck residents. There's another test that's going to be given so that everyone understands, probably late summer, early fall. So once that test is given, probably going to take at least 6 months for civil service to score and provide the township with the results. I anticipate getting those results maybe March, April of 2023. It will not give the police department a lot of time to do backgrounds and to line up candidates for the July 2023 class. So once they're in the academy, July 2023, they're in there for over 6 months. They come back to us the end of December 2023, then they're in a field training program for at least 3 months, and they are not riding solo until the spring of 2024. So that's some of the challenges that we face. Certainly in the interim, if we can find another alternate route candidate or 2, we'll certainly hire. We had a couple police officers recently retire with not much notice. So again, this is not a delay by the township. We're not stalling to hire. We are bound by civil service rules, regulations, and we're doing everything in our power to find alternate route candidates. And generally they are, correct me if I'm wrong, Chief, they are picked up by municipalities very quick because they fund the cost for the police academy. So these alternate routes will go, they have some additional training they have to do, but we're going to swear them in on, I believe it's Friday, April 1st. We'll get them sworn in on that date, and we'll get them up and running as quickly as possible. So that's where we are with staffing. Again, we're doing our best. It's not easy. This is a problem that 565 municipalities in the state are facing and trying to find candidates. As I mentioned, 2 of the 3 that are currently in the academy are no longer in the academy. So it's a little bit problematic, but the chief is doing a great job with managing staff. Overtime was up a little bit, and in last year, again, everyone has to keep in mind, we spent, Chief, how many months? 4, 5, 6 months working the Rota Center for the COVID vaccination site. There were a plethora of storms, special events that were unplanned. So, and a lot had to do with the staffing as well. So I think all in all, the chief has done a great job managing the police department, still providing the great services that we do. Again, we are in the process of redoing that communication center. Will be a state-of-the-art facility, bring back 911, PSAP center. So I'm very comfortable with what's taking place there. And just quickly to cover capital expenses for the police department, what we will do in 2022 are we're replacing some tasers at a cost of $60,000, replacing the AEDs at a cost of $12,000. And there's $21,000 for a new DVR for the nice call recording system. And Chief, can you explain what that's for?
Sure. The nice recording system, we need that. It needs to be upgraded. The system we have can no longer get upgraded. It is out. It is outdated. We do need that to record all radio transmissions, phone calls, and particularly 911 calls. So
okay, and the tasers, they all need to be replaced as well, correct?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
The tasers all need to be replaced as well, correct?
So right now, we are down to less than 20 tasers that work. There are a bunch that are no longer operational and can't be fixed, or it's not worth fixing them. With the onboarding of body cameras, the current tasers that we have the camera built in, and they cost almost twice as much because of the camera. So once we have the body cams, we can go to the model without a camera attached to it, which cuts the price roughly in half. So we would be able to buy more tasers as long as they work in concert with the body cam.
Okay, got it. So again, just Yep, that's fine. Just to summarize the police budget before I'll turn it back to council. In 2021, again, we adopted $352,295. 2022, we are at requesting $330,820. Again, a decrease of 6.10%. Again, a lot has to do with that audit and inventory that was done in 2021 to get the accreditation back to where it needs to be.
Mr. Manager?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead,
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor?
go for it.
Yeah, so two questions, two questions, one comment. Are we doing anything with vehicles this year?
Yes, we, again, the delay is not from us. We have vehicles ordered. Again, there's a delay, as everyone knows, with producing chips. So as soon as we get them in, we will be doing the replacement.
Thank you, and I love the program. It's been very minimally used, but I think it should be, if there's extra cars, more used, which is the decoy car program at houses of worship. Selling off the vehicles for a few $1,000s is simply not worth it, in my opinion. Using the houses of worship is not just good for security, but also good for PR. So if you can keep that in mind, I'd appreciate it. Two, just out of curiosity, the tasers, we don't really use them, thank God. I think we don't use them. So do they just break because of training, or what's the reason why they age out?
So some of them are original to, I want to say 2013 or 2014. So they are, 5 years is generally considered end of life. So they're beyond their what they would consider their life term. The other problem, and we're trying to migrate away from it, is that it's shared equipment. And unfortunately, with shared equipment, it just doesn't seem to hold up, as opposed to when it's assigned to one officer. So the new tasers that we're going to obtain will be assigned to one officer, and that's it. And our experience with other equipment, such as radios, once we assign it to an individual officer, it doesn't seem to have the damage, the wear and tear is minimal.
Right,
Minimal.
right, exactly.
Right. So, and we're doing the same thing with body cameras. Everyone will be assigned one body cam. So I think once we start to do that, I think the damages and that stuff will be lessened. And to your point of, we don't use them that often, that is a good thing. But you know what? I like the fact that the officers do have options. And so I'm a big proponent of that.
Got it. Okay, and my last thing, my comment is, I know you've been down a lot of officers and you've been juggling the schedule. As such, I'm sure that affects the overtime. So not on behalf of Deputy Mayor Katz, who's not here tonight, we will jointly skip any conversations about the overtime.
Okay.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Schwartz. Anybody else have any comments they want to make? I have one question, but does anybody else have anything? Okay. The only question I have for the purchase of police cars, I just want to be sure that I understand. Are we doing a mix of hybrids and non-hybrid cars? Is that what this says here?
Yeah, whatever we can get our hands on, we're going to get our hands on. And I don't know if all of them will be the hybrids, but certainly we want to get our hands on whatever we can, because go ahead, Chief.
I was going to say the hybrids right now are impossible to get. We've tried to obtain them, and the lead time is 2024 is the earliest 2023, excuse me, is the earliest you're going to see them. So we are looking into possibly going all electric for some of the vehicles. We do think that that's doable instead, as opposed to the hybrids. We're just going to maybe do some that are just all electric instead. So, we tried the hybrids and you just can't get them right now.
Okay.
So we're looking at other options in lieu of the hybrids. And one of them is maybe going to a couple electric vehicles, but obviously that will require charging stations and some other infrastructure that we do think is doable here. And we think that the electric cars for certain aspects of policing will work just fine. So we are looking into that.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? No? All right. Chief, thank you very much.
Thank
Thanks,
you all
Chief.
very much. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Have a nice evening.
Oh, can I throw one question in there for me? I just want to double check. Does this budget afford you enough staffing to operate permits and whatnots within statutory requirements?
Yeah, as you know, we did hire someone to help us with that, a clerk position basically, which is part-time, and that will be coming to an end. But we were able to catch up quite a bit. Our turnaround time now is pretty good. I mean, I think we're down to maybe
Yeah,
less than.
I have not heard any complaints. I just want to check for next year regarding the budget that you'll be okay as well.
Yeah, listen, I think for 2020 is where we really got hurt. We were down personnel and COVID hit, and there was just this confluence of things that hit us at once. But we've gotten to a point now, the backlog is we got through it, and hiring the part-time person was having one person dedicated full-time was great. Part of the reason, not to get off subject, but part of the reason why we did that audit with the evidence, the inventory, was because we were trying to juggle too many things at once. So we had to bring someone in to help us with that. And the evidence, we have one person assigned to it. That's all they do. So firearms, having that civilian come in and do that allowed us to catch up. So right now we're good. If we get killed with, if we get 100 permits in 1 month, we're going to lag behind a little bit. There's just nothing I can do.
I just want to make sure you have the tools you need to succeed in the budget, but sounds like you do. So
I
I'm
believe
happy.
we do. Absolutely. Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Chief, the other challenge for you are the expungements, correct? Right now?
Oh yeah, I didn't even touch on that. I think we're over 1,000 expungements that we have to have done. So we are having one of the civilian staff members help with that as well. But we got about 700 dumped on us over the summer, I think, all marijuana related. So we have to go through each one of those. So it's going to take a little bit of time.
Okay. I just want to make council aware. I know that you and I discussed this, and there were quite a few that came in.
Yeah, we're working on that too.
Okay. All right, great. Thanks, Chief.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Okay, we have the fire budget, which is 265, and I see Chief Zaretsky on board. Welcome. Good evening, Chief.
Hi, Dean. Good evening.
So to start with the fire budget, in 2021, the chief had asked for $237,918. This year, he's requesting $360,187. And Chief, we're going to go over this, some of these line items, account numbers, and some where you see the larger expenditures. And bear with me 1 second here. And the biggest one, Chief, it looks like under new employees, the difference. Can you go over that for council?
Yeah, it's just so first of all, I want to say thank you to everybody who reached out to Dean and council. Everybody reached out. It's been a trying time for my family, and I appreciate the well wishes. And so that's from a personal standpoint. I also want to thank the council and Dean for managing the budget for us and giving us the resources that we need to do our jobs. I'd like to highlight just a couple things that we've been doing very recently, like within the last week. Using our training budget, we have FDU in-house, and they're doing a resiliency program for us, which has been really well received. And this is something that doesn't directly affect the residents of Teaneck, but I think it impacts my staff directly, especially as we get into this post-COVID period, their ability to recover from it. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to do that. And then also I'm very proud of us because Dean and the city manager's office gave us the permission to donate our old turnout gear. So this is stuff that we had taken out of service that we had replaced budgetarily last year. And so this is out of date per our sort of work rules. And I think 40 sets of turnout gear. Today, we took any identifying marks off them and we are donating them to Ukraine. So I just want to say that. So.
Okay.
And in terms of the new hire stuff, this is just a variable number and it goes up and down based on what we anticipate in terms of how many people we'll have to hire. Last year was a lower number because we just had less turnover, and this year it looks like we have more turnover. So it's a variable number that swings up and down. Unfortunately, to train, equip, and get a new hire ready to go, it's a significant sum of money. I will say that it does look like we'll underspend that because we haven't had as much turnover as I've anticipated.
So
we did deliver 5 conditional offers of employment just yesterday.
Yes, I just wanted to make council aware as far as hirings. We issued 5 conditional offers of employment, and we're hoping to get those candidates after they're done with medical and psychological examinations on board on or about April 1st. As I mentioned to council, one of the big projects from the fire end is the shared dispatch with Hackensack, where Hackensack would assume fire dispatching for TNEC. Again, that will allow the firefighters to get back onto on the trucks rather than on the fire dispatch desk. And we also spoke about automatic aid, and that would be for any structure fire takes place, whether it's in TNEC or Hackensack. When you get that initial call, if there is a structure fire, you're really getting a unified immediate response. So if there's a structure fire reported in TNEC, called in, again, Hackensack is responding, and vice versa. So we're really looking forward to that. Chief, as far as your sub accounts, really for the most part, not a big change from the previous year. As far as from the capital end, some of the things that you're asking for that I included in capital for 2022 include $125,000 towards a fire pumper truck. That's on that 15-year replacement program. Chief and staff vehicles, which I know are fairly old, and that's $70,000 for that. Firehouse furniture, $10,000. Some fire desk improvements. When I say fire desk improvements, this is the fire optics for the Hackensack Fire Dispatch. We have $100,000 in there. The SCBA packs, which is $120,000. The bottles are $140,000. Portable radio replacement, $30,000. And the fire department boat replacement, $30,000 that we lost during Ida. I know we just settled the insurance claim on that, but it's about a third of what it would cost for a new boat, but we'll certainly apply it to that. So those are the items covered under capital, and I'll turn it over to council if they have any questions for the fire chief or myself.
Any questions for the fire chief? Councilmember Organ.
So really the big difference between this year and last year is special projects, and that's Hackensack.
Yes.
That's everything else is really for the most part in line.
Yeah.
Okay. And one more thing, what type of boat are we getting? We're replacing the inflatable boat?
We are.
That's the one?
Yeah, we're replacing it. And I think our plan is that we're gonna storing them and transporting them. We have 2 boats. We have a flat bottom boat, which we use extensively. And then we have the inflatable, which we use pretty extensively. And they ran over a submerged mailbox and it destroyed the boat. So the plan is that in addition to replacing that boat, we'll get a trailer that could house both of them and make it easier to deploy them when the time comes.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Okay. Chief, thank you very much for everything that you do. And again, you're in our thoughts, and I hope your family's finding some peace.
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate the thoughts. Thank you.
Hey, Dean.
Okay, next I want to bring in Travon Romeo, Public
Bring
Works
him in
Director.
now. Bring him in now. Good to hear from you, Chief Zaretsky. I don't see a phone number. I know that Travon was having some technical difficulties. We were trying to help him out with. Let's see if it's working now. Travon, how you doing?
Connected?
I see his screen coming up. Give us 1 second,
Yep,
Dean. I'm gonna
no
give him a
worries,
call.
yeah.
Travon, how you doing? He's having some issues with his computer. He's gonna try and
Yeah.
call in right now.
Okay, all right, well, hang on a minute.
Doug, how we doing?
I am intervening right now, sir.
Okay.
We're trying to. Give me 1 minute.
Get them on board. If not, I'll cover what needs to be covered. All right, so let me just start with
Yeah.
Public Works account 300, which is other expenses. In 2021, we budgeted a little bit over $2 million. In 2022, we're just slightly over 2 million, a decrease of about $11,000. Really, the two sub accounts that went down are engineering and other service, and we have disposal costs as well. So that stayed relatively flat for this calendar year. Where you're going to see a fairly significant increase is account 310, which covers buildings and grounds. You'll see that there is about 125% increase. That totals 171,200. Now, as I discussed with council, there'll be a transition to building maintenance here at the municipal building, both of these buildings. as well as the police department. And that's really due to one retirement coming up that will allow us to do that. And this also involves the maintenance of our parks and ball fields. So we're going to really split a lot of that up between Public Works, parks, and then an outside company. I think we just awarded to Donna Frio, and they will do a lot of the ball fields as well, so that this is done on a weekly basis and that the ball fields are in great playing shape and the fields, the grass is cut. During the springtime, as council knows, they're generally on a 10, 12, 14-day cutting cycle due to whether it's rain, the grass grows quick, but this will certainly improve the conditions of our parks, our fields, and that's really the reason for the increase. Now, to offset that, there are going to be several positions at Public Works we do not fill. As I mentioned, labor title, I believe they start at 53, 54,000. You add on the cost of state health benefits, pension contributions, and you're getting close to that $100,000 range. So there'll be a couple positions that are not filled that should cover the expenses for the outside contractor coming in, taking care of the ball fields, Donna Frio, and who we are going to use for building maintenance to cover here, as well as the police department. Again, that will eliminate any need for overtime at our buildings, coverage for vacation, sick time, so forth and so on. So I think it's going to be very beneficial to the town, and having the private contractors come in to take care of, again, our two municipal buildings, the police department, and then the outside contractor for our fields. Travon, are you connected? I think he just has to unmute.
Yeah, he is calling in now. So Travon, you have to hit *6 or *9, depends on the phone.
I'll just go over the other main budget account numbers, and that's 320, which covers maintenance. Again, that's staying relatively flat, just a slight increase of 1,700. In 2021, we budgeted 597,795. This year, 599,495. So just a slight increase of $1,700 for that account. Really has no impact on that for this year. And
Travon, can we hear you?
Yeah. You hear me now?
Yes, we have you. Yep. Account snow removal account 325. We're budgeting. Actually, we're not budgeting anything for that this year. And then let's go to account number 330, which is other RICs. We covered that one already. Let me just move on to capital here. So for capital, Travon and I went over this. We had, we had to remove a few things from capital, but we kept the most important items that he was looking for 2022. So 3 of the big piece equipment items that we're using for 2022, including in capital, is a D42, replacing D42, the bucket loader with attachments. And that was a 1997 unit. And that comes at a cost of about $200,000. D24, which is a 1-ton pickup truck with a plow that we need, that is at a cost of $50,000. And a new garbage truck with an 8 cubic yard container for park sanitation, that comes at a cost of $200,000. Travon, just want to go over these items and let council know where we're at with them.
Currently, we use a pickup truck to haul garbage from the parks, and having that new garbage truck, a smaller cubic yard, will be able to maneuver through the parks and collect garbage. Also, the loader was long overdue. We have finally had the funds, acquired the funds to get that loader. And one of our pickup trucks was badly rutted and out of service, so it badly needed to replace that piece of equipment also.
All right, good. So, council, with the garbage truck with the 8 cubic yard back to it, this will allow Public Works to get into our parks, empty all these trash containers. Right now, what they're using is a pickup truck and just dumping it into the back of the pickup truck. So this will make them much more efficient, effective going around inside the parks with that 8 cubic yard space in the back. So again, just 3 ticket items for DPW in capital. Travon, anything else from the DPW end that you want to discuss?
Just look forward to acquiring some new equipment. I mean, council has been very supportive of all our efforts with snow equipment. We acquired some new equipment on short notice this year due to the recent storms we had. Sometimes with these small storms, they wreak more havoc on the plow equipment. And I must say, when we requested an emergency use of funds to acquire equipment, council was very supportive. So I want to extend my thanks to council and of course to the manager for assisting us in acquiring those pieces of plow equipment at short notice. Other than that, for 2022, as I said before, we are trying to acquire a mini mill machine so we can do potholes. Councilman Kaplan is very supportive of that effort, and hopefully we could acquire it this year also. Apart from that, everything, it should be smooth sailing, and we look forward to a easy 2022.
All right, thanks, Travon. So what he was mentioning about the mini milling machine, better than the infrared machine that we were originally looking at. This will do a much better job with cutting the roadway for minor patching and repairs, make it much smoother. So we're looking into purchasing that piece of equipment. I think for the most part, I know for the most part, Public Works did an excellent job during the winter storms. I really did not receive too many, if any, complaints about the conditions of our road. Travon was on top of it, so I thank him and the staff from Public Works as well. Council, any questions for Mr. Romeo?
No. Any questions? No? Okay. I think that's it, Dean.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Travon.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Travon.
And the next budget I want to cover is legal, and that's under 155. And yep, John is on board here, unmuted. So just to let everyone know, in 2021, we budgeted $1,022,500. What I did this year is increase it by 50,000, which brings it to $1,072,500. And the reason for doing that, we have a plethora of projects going on in town, and I put a little more into the planning budget. So we put $50,000 more because we anticipate there'll be more costs associated with these projects in 2022. So as you can see with the count 155, it covers many different things, including this budget covers the public defender, labor council, labor matters, negotiations, legal fees, expenses, planning, land use, COA, insurance, miscellaneous tax appeals. So there's a bunch of sub accounts with this. I think we've done very well with managing the legal budget, and I'll let John make a few comments.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Happy St. Patrick's Day and happy Purim. Once again, proud to present the legal budget, although The manager has a habit of always stealing my thunder when I start this presentation, because he has to roll through some of these issues as part of what he does. If you look at the legal budget for 2021, and for all the years, and I always like to start off by just reminding everybody, especially those members of the public that are watching the budget presentations, and to understand that the legal budget isn't just me, it isn't just Reggie and Bill Rupp, as Dr. Hoffman mentioned. It's not just our firm. The legal budget encompasses the public defenders, the prosecutors, the planner. There's a significant expense in the legal budget that's allotted for the planner and for the land use and COA matters that the planner deals with. It also includes all of our outside counsel that we hire when there are conflicts or when there are special litigation that has to be handled. And if you look through the legal budget, one of the things that I'm probably the most proud of is the fact that the labor negotiation / personnel matters budget has been decreased every single year since I've been involved with the township as a labor counsel, starting I think about 7 years ago, and as a town attorney now for 5 years. I can't take all the credit for that, obviously. That's a team effort that involves my work with the manager and our daily conversations and our daily work with respect to the labor and employment matters. And for those of you who have been on the council for some time and know that TNEC had some history with labor and employment matters going back a number of years ago, but I can say during the 7 years that I've been working with Dean, from the time that he was the HR manager through the deputy manager and all the way to when he became the manager, we have been extremely proactive with respect to those matters. And as you all know, Dean and I had successfully negotiated all of the contracts this year with all the labor unions, or in the last couple of years, such that we're down on a number where the township was annually getting billed somewhere between $200,000 and $250,000 a year for labor work, where we're down now into the $60,000 range. And I think that's an extreme accomplishment. And for the record, that also includes, not for the past year, but usually in the years before that, training that we're doing, which is not inexpensive for all of the employees, and that's coming up again in April this year for all of the employees. So that's a real significant number. And again, and I remind everybody of this every year so that again, we don't forget that before we came on board, the annual legal budget, I'm talking about from the township attorney and the labor council, was in the $1 million to $1.25 million range per year. And that in the time that we've been here, we've reduced it by about anywhere in a given year between $300,000 and $500,000 of that. And this year we're in much closer to the $500,000 range. So despite the fact that this was sort of an unprecedented year in my time here anyway with litigation, we had more litigation in 2021 than any other year that I've been here. The legal budget is still, and the legal bills are still down. So the raise and the request, and I just want to make that clear, came after my conversation with the manager and Mr. Kaczynski's belief, and I think he's correct. I'm in agreement with him. I concur with him that because of the construction projects that are going on in the township, that the budget for the planner needs to be increased, and that's where you see the increase in the budget this year. So other than that, if there are any questions, I'm glad to answer them. And again, I wish everybody a happy St. Patrick's Day, and I know it's pure past, but happy Durham.
Any questions from council? Okay, John, thank you. Thank you for the work that you've done for the town. We appreciate it.
So Mayor, that's all I have. Next Thursday, again, we'll be doing the library, building, recreation, engineering, manager, clerk, council. I'll be finishing up some capital items as well. And we'll cover all that next Thursday at 7 p.m.
Okay, all right. So having finished business, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second, Schwartz.
All right. All right. So we'll see you all next week.
Yes, thank you.
Everybody. Bye-bye.
Everybody, be well.